Hello and welcome to the Christmas book haul video. This was an idea created by Paul at the Accidental Bookseller. I'll leave the description of the event down below, and I did it a little bit different. I originally had a 24 for $26 video, but sometimes technical glitches turn out to be a blessing. I'll release that video sometime in January, but I decided for this one, I'm going to feature books that I've picked up from my thrift store over various different hauls, and I want to highlight some of the reasons that I've picked them up and why I absolutely love my Goodwill thrift store bookstore. When you first walk into the store, there's a huge selection of books for $1. And I always take my time there, go through all the shelves, because you never know what you're going to find. Some of my recent finds have included Relic. This is by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. They're not usually authors I read, but I figured for $1 and a special edition, this was definitely a book I could give a try. Another title that I found was Once Upon a Time. No, not based on the TV show. This is Stories Clouded in Mystery by Daryl Gopal. The fascinating thing is, this is a signed copy, and it's also published in the city here where I live in Canada. So that was a nice surprise. I also found the Read Aloud Handbook, including a giant treasury of great read aloud books. This is by Jim Trelease. It's a revised and updated copy of his work. On the back, and I 100% agree, Jim Trelease has made reading aloud a special pleasure for millions of people. This new edition offers a chance for a new generation of parents, teachers, grandparents, and siblings to discover the rewards and the necessity of reading aloud to children. Now, when I worked in schools, I always loved when we were reading work and talking about characters and settings, enjoying the amazing illustrations. I am a big fan of reading aloud, and it's why I enjoy doing my reading series here on my channel, which will again become a regular thing on Fridays. Now, this one, yes, I am surprised I picked it up, but at least on the cover, this is what I want to see. His ass walking out the door. Trumpocracy, The Corruption of the American Republic. This is by David Frum. I paid 70 cents. I picked it up on a sales day, so it wasn't $1. Obviously, whoever picked this up decided not to keep it because it's from 2018 in excellent condition. I certainly wouldn't have paid $32 new for this, but I am trying to learn more about what's going on in America and how the government works. So for 70 cents, I figured it was worth it. Another interesting find was Tastes and Tales of Norway. Now, I was a bit shocked to discover that, first of all, the pictures are black and white, even though this was published in 2002. And according to the sticker inside, it was $40 back then. I got it for 70 cents because, yes, again, I found it on a discount day. So the $1 finds are amazing because you never know what you're going to discover, And I pick up books for learning, not just reading back to front, next book, next book, next book. Another reason I enjoy buying books, and I'm sorry, Noah, but it's going to have to happen. I picked up an extra copy of Chariots of the Gods. I have one copy that has been annotated. This one, as you can see, has been counted out, and this will become a junk journal. So the little paper clips are to let me know which pages I'll be tearing out to create signatures and sections. And yes, I've also folded up a page because you can make pockets and so many other things. The pages I tear out will be incorporated, whether it's in this junk journal or in others. So I'm not wasting the book, I'm just repurposing and doing something different with it. Another book that I found to turn into a journal, and no, I didn't pay the full $1 for this one either, is John Edward Crossing Over. Now, I have a number of books about psychics and paranormal things. This will make the perfect junk journal, and it's a hardcover, so I don't have to worry about floppy covers on it. I just need to do the counting out. Now, another book that I was very excited to find, and yes, also less than $1, was Stephen King and Peter Straub's The Talisman. And I'm a bit shocked. This is the third Stephen King I found on the $1 shelf. So ooh, I got 2 of his collections, Nightshift and Skeleton Crew, for 50 cents each. I picked up the paperback because even though I have the hard copy that I also found at my thrift store, that was also a good deal. But again, it's a hardcover, it's a chunky monkey, and a bit of a challenge to hold because I also have arthritis in my hands as well as in my back. So for me, finding a paperback copy means I'll actually be able to comfortably read The Talisman, and this will become my junk journal for all my horror story reads. The hard copy is 646 pages long, so I don't know if it's because the font that was used, whether they added extra material. I'm going to quick peek through before I take the books apart. That highlights the $1 exciting books that I found for different reasons, both for learning, discovery, and crafting. 2 other books that I picked up specifically for junk journaling projects. One is Secrets of the Code. This is by Dan Burstein. I have another hard copy of this book. It's why I got onto the Da Vinci spiral a couple years ago, which has now gone way past 100 other books. So this will be turning into a junk journal to keep some of the notes on that huge spiral. I have the Da Vinci Code, which I may be turning into a junk journal as well, as I lucked into an illustrated copy of the Da Vinci Code for $5 at my local thrift store. Again, amazing finds there. Then by accident, I picked up Pyramid Quest twice. This is by Robert Schoch and Robert Aquinas, McNally. One will become a junk journal for all my pyramid, ancient Egypt work, and the other one will, of course, be annotated for my studies and research. So I don't just find my junk journal projects and books in the $1 section, but at $5 for a hard copy book, again, the thrift store is amazing. After I go through the $1 section, which usually takes me a fair bit of time, because again, I'm looking for a variety of things, I head over to the science fiction horror section. I've picked up a number of my Stephen King books there, a few Dean Koontz, and recently, on a sales day, I picked up 3 complete novels, The Servants of Twilight, Dark Fall, and Phantoms. This is complete and unabridged. Originally, this was priced at $5.99. I got it for $3. So 3 Koontz books for $3 is an amazing deal. I've already shown one of the other King books that I've picked up there and mentioned. That section is also a great place to find new to me authors. And on the 50% off sale day that I went, I picked up Jack Whyte's Templar trilogy, but they only had book 1 and 2. So I'll keep an eye out for book 3. But now I have Knights of the Black and White, as well as Standard of Honor. Even on a non-sale day, these books are $3.50 and $3.99, I guess because one's a bit bigger than the other. But either way, that's an amazing price for chunky monkeys like this, because you certainly wouldn't find it at that price at Indigo. 2 other Jack White books that I've picked up recently, I've got the Eagle and the Skystone. Now, I believe the Skystone is the first book in the series, and Eagle will come up later in it. I also have Clothar, can't remember the rest of the title, but again, as I go, there are always a lot of Jack White books there, so eventually I should be able to complete that series. I found most of the Dresden Files there by Jim Butcher. Sometimes you just get that little niggle and discover some amazing books that you may not have even been looking for at the time. During one of my little niggle shops, Your Soul's Plan, Discovering the Real Meaning of the Life You Planned Before You Were Born. This is by Robert Schwartz. I've never read this author before, so again, perfect time to check him out. This one I also lucked into on half price day. So instead of $4.50, it was $2.25. Great time to check out a new author. I believe this work will connect in with the Carolyn Miss books that I have. Still need to read them, but I always enjoy checking out what different authors have to say about that concept. Now, this was a huge surprise. You don't often see Michael Newton at the thrift store. This is Journey of Souls, Case Studies of Life Between Lives. Now, I have Michael Newton's other book, Destiny of Souls, and yes, I'm interested in reincarnation, the different work that he's done, but he also will connect in with all my UFO, spiral, and studies, because Michael Newton is a hypnotherapist. And if you've looked into any of the UFO stuff, you know, with the abductees, much of their information and stories come out from hypnotherapy sessions. Now, one, I'm a bit leery of hypnotherapists because it really depends on who's doing the work, the questions they ask. Sometimes those questions can end up leading people to believe certain things. And I have mentioned before a case in my own family where an individual underwent hypnotherapy, believed something had occurred in their life, which no, it did not. They were false memories. And that's why I'm very leery of this type of work. but I am interested in reading and seeing what some of these hypnotherapists are saying. It's a very controversial area of study and therapy, and I just like to read a bit more and learn about it. Speaking of different types of controversial subjects, the complete prophecies of Nostradamus. This is not the only collection I have of the complete prophecies. This is translated, edited, and interpreted by Henry C. Roberts, because of course Nostradamus was French and all his work was in French. So it needs to be translated by other people. Now, the other challenge with the work by Nostradamus, for those who may not be familiar with him, Nostradamus lived centuries ago. And in a time where prophecies and certainly discovering your information by scrying, which is looking into a bowl and the image and interpreting the images that you see. In Nostradamus's time, doing that type of thing was literally a death sentence had he been caught. So he put his information into quatrains. Now, to my knowledge, no one has ever figured out the code that he used to put his information together. I find it ironic that in his time, to do that work and write it down, he needed to be careful because it was literally life-threatening. And yet now, for quite some time, other people are making a living off of his work. Humans never cease to amaze me. I guess that's why my background is in psychology and just always trying to figure things out, because there's always some interesting curveball that comes up. The other two books that I found during one of my trips, and again, this is not a name you will often find at my thrift store, was Emanuel Velikovsky. I found his Worlds in Collision, which comes up in so many of the other books that I've been reading. I also lucked into Ages in Chaos, also by Velikovsky. These two not only caught my eye because of the amazing work on them, but Ages in Chaos 1, From the Exodus to King Akhenaten. Now, based on some of the ancient Egypt readings I've done, Akhenaten was the father of King Tutankhamun. Now, many people probably know the name of King Tut because of all the displays and everything they've seen from his tomb. But when you consider he was only, I believe, 18, maybe 19 when he died, he did not accumulate all of that wealth in that very short period of time. Many of those objects, I believe, were from his father, Akhenaten. Very interested to read both of these books by Velikovsky. Again, a lot of great reasons to check out your local thrift store for amazing finds, whether it's for excellent deals on a sales day. Every now and again, you luck into authors that are highly unusual to find there, like Velikovsky. I found The Secret Doctrine by Helena Blavatsky for $5. That currently retails at Indigo for $50, brand new. But there's more. I also found The Supernatural. This is by Douglas Hill and Pat Williams. Now, this particular book I picked up because it was published in 1965. Yes, I'm a year older than this book. Exorcism and Black Masses, Werewolves and Vampires, Ghosts and Poltergeists, Voodoo Worshippers and Spiritualists, Alchemists and Witches. I'm curious to find out what these authors have to say about those subjects in 1965. I have Margot Adler's Drawing Down the Moon, which will, of course, give a very different perspective of these various topics. I'm looking forward to Great Australian Mysteries, so a chance to learn about yet another country and their different stories. This is by John Pinkney, so again, a chance to learn about a different country and a different culture. Now, this book surprised me for a lot of reasons. Into the Afterlife, a guide into paranormal investigating. This is written by 4 investigators, Brian and Darlene Danhausen, Mike and Stephanie Hartman. So 2 different couples from Detroit, Michigan. Unfortunately, the book doesn't include a copyright date, or I couldn't find it anywhere. But it's a teeny little book, retailed for $17. I picked it up for much less because I picked it up on a sales day. But what truly shocked me is that it's a signed copy by all 4 authors. So I'm not sure if the person they sent it to didn't enjoy the material. It's not annotated. It's in excellent condition, so I'm not even sure if the individual ended up reading it, which is a bit sad if that's the case. The final thing that I want to talk about with why going to a thrift store is so amazing is finding those books you thought you were done with, but you actually want a copy again. And it's why I don't unhaul books anymore. I'm now up to over 50 plus rebuys, and thankfully they all came from my local thrift stores, so I got them back at a huge discount. I was excited to find this one. Okay, I'm excited to find any book. If you've seen any of my book hauls, book shopping makes me happy. But this one in excellent condition, The Blackstone Chronicles by John Saul. It's like Michael McDowell's Blackwater. It was released in a series of books, but this is in one volume. I remember playing the video game. I loved the music and the story to it. I enjoyed reading the book, and I knocked it off in a matter of days because I wanted to know how it ended. But this story is also special because I remember the conversations with a friend of mine who suggested the Blackstone Chronicles, and he's no longer here. So having a copy of this will remind me of those discussions, and I'm looking forward to reading it again. An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore, because I am looking into different things in terms of the climate, different theories, different ideas. I know some of the stuff in the Al Gore book is a bit questionable. It's probably why I unhauled it in the first place. For me, it was just important to have a copy of this again as I'm going through all the information, pulling things together, and well, it was $1, so couldn't really pass that up. A big thank you to Paul for tagging me and coming up with this wonderful idea for videos on December the 25th. I've enjoyed sharing why I like shopping at my local thrift store. There's so many great reasons. Wishing you all the best, not just for today, but for every day, and bright blessings for 2026.